The real reason *2* series regulars are mysteriously missing on Chicago PD, as One Chicago cuts characters left and right. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, Soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. Chicago PD Season 12, Episode 20, Black Ice saw the show focus on Adam Ruzek, Patrick Pfluger, as the team investigated a case involving sex trafficking. But the episode was pretty notorious, not just for the focus on Ruzek, and by default, on his partner and wife-to-be, Kim Burgess, Marina Scorciati. It was also pretty notable because of who wasn't in the episode. We've already seen Dante Torres missing from multiple episodes of the show this season. But this time, Dante, Benjamin Levy Aguilar, wasn't the one missing. Instead, it was Kevin Atwater, LaRoyce Hawkins, and Kiana Cook, Toya Turner. So where were Kevin Atwater and Kiana Cook on Chicago PD? Where are Kevin Atwater and Kiana Cook on Chicago PD? The entirety of One Chicago has suffered from a case of disappearing characters this season, likely because episode minimums for all series regulars were lowered in an attempt to lower the costs for all series. That means that series regulars are no longer expected to appear in all episodes, which is why this episode had the absence of not one, but two of them. Typically, the show has been better about making sure only one of them was missing at a time, so their absence isn't as obvious. But they might have felt that with a case focused on Adam, everyone would be focusing on Adam and Kim anyway. More, Chicago PD's best and worst characters, ranked. It is indeed so, though Dante pops up to help in the investigation every now and then, likely because he was been missing for enough episodes that he doesn't need to pull a disappearing act any longer. Voight is also around, though for Voight's standards, he isn't in the episode all that much. With the last two episodes focusing on the team's pursuit of Deputy Chief Reed, Sean Hatosi, this was likely the last chance the show had to have an episode without any of the series regulars around. Chicago PD seems to be the one show of the One Chicago shows that has it easier when it comes to the budget cuts the other two are facing. They have a smaller cast and could conceivably keep everyone going into Season 13, and then just play Russian roulette of who is in which episode, just do it more often. Or if there is indeed a need to really cut someone, chances are they wouldn't cut the characters who have been the longest. That, however, would be a real shame. Both Kiana and Dante have brought a lot of interesting dynamics that have yet to be explored to the team. With the promise of a shorter season next year, and the way the show can just write out characters one episode or two at a time, often without giving explanations, why not just do that and not cut characters that they could keep? Let's hope they're listening. Fans of Chicago PD have grown used to high-stakes action, nail-biting interrogations, and complicated moral dilemmas. But nothing could have prepared them for the eerie silence surrounding the recent disappearance of two series regulars. As One Chicago undergoes what some insiders are calling a casting cleanse, speculation is running wild. Why are these characters missing? Where did they go? And what does it signal for the future of Chicago PD? It started subtly. A missing scene here, a strange off-screen explanation there. By mid-season, eagle-eyed fans began to notice something odd. Two familiar faces, Detective Dante Torres, portrayed by Benjamin Levy Aguilar, and Officer Trudy Platt, played by Amy Morton, had quietly slipped out of the main storyline. No emotional send-off, no dramatic death, no press releases, just gone. In an age when social media blows up over the departure of even the most minor guest star, the silence was deafening. Fans flooded Reddit and Twitter with theories, Budget cuts, secret spin-offs, behind-the-scenes drama. But the truth, insiders say, is a bit more complicated and a whole lot juicier. The budget blade swings again. One source close to production confirmed what many had already suspected. NBC is tightening the financial reins on the One Chicago franchise. With expensive ensemble casts across Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, and Chicago PD, the network has been under increasing pressure to streamline. It's not just about cutting costs. It's about reshaping the entire franchise for a more flexible future, said the source. Executives are trying to reduce overhead while still keeping audiences hooked. That meant reevaluating every character's role and impact. Despite his charisma and compelling backstory, Torres never quite found consistent footing with the intelligence unit. They liked Benjamin Levy Aguilar, but his character came in during a transitional time, said the insider. He was supposed to help fill the void left by Jay Halstead, but the writers struggled to make him stick. In the end, it just didn't work. As for Platt, fans might be shocked. She's been a fixture since season 1, reeling from her perch at the front desk with a mix of sarcasm and steel. But Amy Morton, a theater veteran with deep Chicago roots, has reportedly been quietly scaling back her on-set appearances for years. She's beloved, said a crew member. But the storylines haven't centered on her for a long time. It felt like she was always there, but never truly part of the main action anymore. Off-screen conflicts and creative shifts. Budget isn't the only reason for their absence. Sources say creative disagreements also played a role. Showrunner Gwen Segan has been steering Chicago PD toward darker, more serialized storytelling, and some characters just didn't fit the tone. There was a push to return to the grittier roots of the show, and that meant some characters had to take a back seat, said a former writer. Torres was meant to be a fresh perspective, but in the end, his storylines felt repetitive. And Platt? She's comic relief in a show that's leaning further into emotional trauma and moral ambiguity. Morton, in particular, was rumored to be less than thrilled about some of the show's recent tonal shifts. She's incredibly loyal to the show, said a co-star. But I think she missed the days when there was a little more balance, when PD didn't feel like it was drowning in tragedy every week. There have also been whispers of behind-the-scenes tension between newer cast members and longtime crew. Nothing explosive, but enough to create friction. With production schedules tighter than ever and emotions high, sometimes stepping away is the cleanest solution. The spin-off Whisper Network. And then there's the most tantalizing theory of all. Torres and Platt are being quietly repositioned for something new. Rumors have been circulating about a secret spin-off in development, one that focuses on the administrative and undercover sides of the Chicago police force. Think The Wire meets The Office, but set in the Chicago PD universe, teased one executive. While nothing has been officially greenlit, both characters would be perfect fits. Torres, with his street smarts and deep ties to gangland informants, could head up a specialized undercover unit. And Platt? She's the glue that holds the precinct together. Giving her a larger managerial or mentor role could be the foundation for a more character-driven offshoot. NBC declined to comment on any development projects, but the idea is gaining traction within fan forums. It would explain the lack of closure, one Reddit user noted. If they're gone forever, they'd at least get a goodbye scene. But if they're coming back elsewhere, it makes sense.